dash of Dave, he brings the cheer. Crafty wonders year to year. Scissors, glue, and ribbons dear. Handmade holidays appear. Old-time charm with modern...
Hi everyone, it's Dash of Dave here, and I am back for another crafty video. So, as you can tell, my voice is relatively back to normal. It hasn't stopped me coughing though. So, I'm still coughing, might have to edit. I'm also expecting an Amazon delivery that has gone from being 3 stops away to 8 stops away. So, who knows whether it's going to turn up while I'm trying to film or not. So I might have to pause for that. So if there's any pausing, it's either coughing or Amazon. Today we are going to make we're going to make it in Christmassy, because you know we're kind of coming up to that time of year. We're going to make it in a Christmas paper, but obviously you can make it whatever you like. I've made my prototype in some craft card. And I'm going to show you what this is first, and then we're going to make it together. So, first of all, a little ribbon on here, and we just open that up. And inside we have a little pocket, and here we go. We've got a little card. Now this is a one-sheet wonder, so all of this, except for the card, except for these pieces, are made from one sheet. So all of the craft card stuff is all made from one sheet. And then we open it up, and inside we have a pocket here for a card. We have another little pocket here for another card. Then we open the ribbon up, or the string in my case. We've got another space for cards, or you could put a journaling book or anything in here. You've got another little place for a tag here, and then we've got another place for a journaling card here. And it's very versatile, very flexible, and it's all made from one sheet. And you know we like a one sheet, and we like at this time of year it's a one sheet wonderland. So we are doing more on the one sheet wonderland, and I will show you how to make this. Oh, my Amazon delivery says it's 2 stops away. It's more exciting than Christmas itself, isn't it? So what you're going to need is a 12 by 12 sheet of card. Okay, so I've got a piece of card. It's not a hugely thick piece of card, it's just not paper, basically. And then we're going to cut it at 8 3/4. So the top bit, that's the bit that's going to form your major part. Okay, we're going to cut that at 8 3/4. So either the top or the bottom, it doesn't make any difference. But you want it to be so that the top of the page is either on the left or the right hand side. Rather than, you want it so that you're cutting the top bit off or the bottom bit off. You don't want to be cutting it this way around, otherwise your design will be sideways. So we want to cut this at 8 3/4. I think my delivery is here. I will be back in a moment. So anyway, where was I? That was longer than I expected. It was said I was 1 stop away. I thought I heard a knock on the door, but it wasn't my door, and it wasn't Amazon. So anyway, I waited and waited and waited, and then I thought, oh, I'll just go back upstairs and start filming, and just as I decided that, they knocked on the door. So, typical. So a watched pot never boils, and a watched Amazon delivery never happens. So, right, where were we? Let's measure this. So we're cutting this at 8 3/4. So we're going to cut horizontally across it, 8 3/4. Now I know that leaves a small amount, but that's all you need. We're going to put this to one side, the big piece, and we're going to take the small piece now, and we're going to cut this at 6 1/2. So 6 1/2. Okay, and put that to one side. And then we're going to cut this again, and we're going to cut this at, let me just look at my measurements. We're going to cut this at 4, yes. I'm going to cut that at 4, and we're going to keep all of these pieces, and we're just going to put those to one side for the time being. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to score the larger piece. Now, however you choose to do your scoring, but I'm going to use a scoreboard for mine. I'm going to take our piece. Sorry, coughing as well, not helpful. Amazon delivery. I'm going to cough again. Amazon deliveries and coughing are conspiring against me. Anyway, I will not be defeated. I am 6-feeted high. No, okay, all right. Shut up, Dave. You think you're funny, but you're not. Okay, so this is our 12. This is our 12 by 8 3/4 piece. Okay, so with the 12-inch bit across the top, we are now going to score this at 2 inches. We're going to score it at what's the other number? 6 1/4. 6 1/4. And we're going to score it at 10 3/4. So 10 3/4. Okay. So that's our piece. Now, how I'm going to fold this is I'm going to fold these in. These are the pieces that are going to fold in. So this will be our front cover and this will be our inner bit. If you want it the other way around, then you just have to remember to flip your page like I didn't. Then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this anti-clockwise or counterclockwise, however you choose to say that, and we're going to score this at 6 1/2. So there we go, sorry, 6 1/2. There. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to take that off. Okay, and we are now going to cut this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this piece out here and this piece out here, but we're going to keep them. Okay, so we're going to cut these out. I did make myself a latte, so maybe that's what my body's telling me. I need a latte. Now it's all in my beard, so okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the fold off. So with the bit where you can see the ridge on it, you want to cut that bit off. Okay, and then we're going to cut the other piece off as well, the other side, all the way up to that first line, and then cut the other way and cutting that ridge off. Okay, cool. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to cut up the middle bit here, but we're going to cut this piece out. So where you've got the ridge of that score line, you're just going to cut that off. Either side of that, just cutting that off. Okay, and so you'll get this very narrow piece that you're just going to snip out. Like that. Okay, so that's going to flip over. Okay, and then so you've got now what I have here. So that's this outer piece. Okay, so that's these when these bits fold in. That's what I've got. So I'm just going to fold these in. Okay, and this is your ideal opportunity now, just to make sure it all sits nice and square. So making it square at the top there, putting that line in. Okay. Folding this piece up and making sure that this piece doesn't clash in that corner, which is fine, it doesn't. So we can get rid of that. Okay, and then what we can do is do the same again on this side, just making it nice and square. You know, you spent all that time putting the fold in, you just want to make sure it's square now. Pop that in there, and then we can fold this up. Now I think that's just going to clash a little bit, so that's my ideal opportunity just to snip that little bit out. Okay, and then fold that up again, making it square. And then what you want to do is you want to fold it in half and just make sure that these pieces don't clash in that corner as well. There you go. So it folds down like that. Okay, so now what we've got, so this is exactly the same as this. So we've got a little step here, but that's so you can open it. But what you want to do now is you just want to make this one, this edge, a shape. You don't want to do it to this one, but you do want to cut off anything. You see where you can see there where it's flipped over in that corner. That's just where it's clashing on that fold. So you just want to snip any of those bits out. So you just want a straight edge. Now you want to leave it as a straight edge because if you look in here, okay, let's open this up and I'll show you. You look in here, move that out of the way. This one you want to butt up to this edge because you're going to turn that into a pocket. This one you want to cut away slightly, so you're making it, so you're defining that pocket. So what we want to do is we just want to cut that into a little bit of an angle. Move these pieces out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to cut that at a slight angle, so just cutting about 1/4 of an inch and then right up to that corner. Like that, okay. So there we go. So we've got that slight shape on here, but this one stays square, so stays at 90. And then this one, what we're going to do is we're going to cut that corner off. So we're going to round that corner. So this is your ideal opportunity to do that. Before I do that, I'm just going to have to cut because I need to cough underneath. So I have a hot air heater underneath my desk, and I'm a bit warm now. So I'm going to chop that corner off. Okay, so we've got that rounded corner. I'm going to do the same to these corners, just keeping it consistent. Same to this corner. Okay, so we've got these nice rounded corners. Now, we're not going to bother with this corner because you're not going to see it. It's going to be underneath here, and we're not going to bother with this corner because that will then round off a corner of a pocket, which we don't want to do. Okay, so they are our pieces of the cover, and we're going to put those to one side. And then what we're going to do now is we are going to make the other pieces. So we're going to take the bigger one of the two pieces. So that's this bigger piece is the one that makes this bit here. Okay, I've got a deconstructed one here. I might be able to show you better on this. Let's show you this. So this is a deconstructed one. So this piece is going to form this piece, which is this piece here. Okay, so move that out of the way because that was my prototype in the works. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take this piece, okay, which is it measures 6.5 by 3.25, I believe. Yeah, 3.25 by 6.5. Okay, we want to take this and we want to fold it in half. Okay, and in order to do that, all I did was I just folded it in half. Now I'm going to do it. Which way around shall I do it? Shall I do it? I'll do it that way actually. I'm going to fold it in half, and that's all I did was just literally fold it in half. I didn't do any fancy scoring or anything like that, just folding it. Okay, there we go. And then what I did was I just rounded those corners. Oh, sorry. Rounded those corners at the top, but not at the bottom, because remember this one's forming a pocket. Okay, so rounding those corners, but I want to round this one corner here. So not that one, but this one. Okay, let's just check where I am. Here's my corner rounder. There it is. Okay, so then I'm going to put that to one side. Okay, then we're going to take this piece. So this piece forms the pocket on the front. So that's this piece here. Okay, so you're going to take this piece, and what we're going to do with this is we're just going to score it at 1/4 of an inch on 3 sides. So I'm going to bring my little scoreboard in because you can see more of me and less of it then. So we're going to do 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and 1/4 of an inch. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut out these corners at the corners, obviously. The corners of the corners. Really, Dave? You surprise me. Where do you put your corners? In the corner. And then what we're going to do is just going to fold these in. So I'm going to use it this way around. Remember, this is the outside, so I want a contrasting thing. I know it's going to be sideways, but I can cope with that. If you can't, then do it the other way around. And then on bottom bit. Okay. And that's going to form our pocket. Okay, so now we've got the inner piece, we've got the pocket. Okay, and then what we need to do is we need to make the other components. So this piece here, let's just get that. So obviously some of them you go, oh okay, well that can't be that, and it can't be that, it can't be that. It's not, it's this one. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this one down. Okay, so we're going to cut it down to be the right width. Now this is the only one where there's no preset measurement, and the reason for that is if you're scoring this and you make a slight error, if you've cut this too small, you don't want to, I don't want to say it needs to be exactly this amount. You've cut it too small and you end up with something you can't use. So what we're going to do is we're going to line that up to there, and we're just going to pencil mark it. If we had a pencil, I would use a pencil. I've got a pencil now. And you can sing if you want to, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. And then what we're going to do is just going to cut that bit off at that point. And then that way then we know that our piece fits. Okay. Next thing you want to do is you want to take this piece that you've just cut, okay, and you want to decide, do you want a contrasting flap or do you want a matched flap? I think I'm going to go with a contrasting flap for mine. Okay. So, and then we're going to pop that on our little scoreboard, and we're going to score, no, it's a pencil though. We're going to score this at, we're going to do 3/8 of an inch this time. So rather than 1/4 of an inch, we're going to do 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and we're going to fold that. And we're going to put that fold in. Okay, and then what we're going to do, we're going to round those corners. Like this and this. Okay, so now we've got our pocket. We've got our pocket flap. Okay, that's going to fit in there. You just want to make sure that it fits within those folds, which it does. We've got our inner bit. Okay, and so then the only things to make then are your little tabby things here. Tabby, not as in cats. So, but what we'll do is we'll put it together first. Okay. So as we're going to make this into a little pocket here, so this is going to be a sideways pocket, we want to put a divot in this bit here, in this section here. Now this section measures 2 1/4. Yeah, it is 2 1/4. So we're going to, if you want it right in the middle, half of 2 1/4 is 1 1/8. So that's the middle. I will then put my little divot maker in there, get that in the middle, and then just take a divot out like that. And what we're going to do with this one is we're going to glue this down, but all we're going to do is we're going to glue at the top of this one and at the bottom of this one, so it forms a pocket for us to stick something in there. I'm going to have to cough again. I'll show you what we're going to do. Let's do that together. Okay, so we know where it's going to come to. If you want to just put a little bit of a pencil mark just there, just so you know where to glue to, the end point at which you stopped gluing. So we're just going to put a line of glue down here and a line of glue down here. You don't want to put too much in because you don't want to press this down and it squeeze into here and you not be able to use that pocket. So I'm just going to press those down lightly. Just make sure that you get that full gluage. If you want to give it a push together like that so it presents itself as a little pocket that way. There you go, so it's much easier to get something in there. Okay, so that's that. So now we've got this big pocket here and we've got a little pocket here. Okay, you know, just when you think you're over it, you start coughing again. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create this middle piece. Okay, now this middle piece, it isn't completely hinged on the fold. It is glued slightly in. I don't know whether you can see that. It's glued slightly in to this page here. Okay, so what we're going to do is this is going to glue down, and we're going to put a line of glue down this edge and glue it to this page, so it'll glue down like this. Okay, and then you also then, let's just open that up and show you. You also then going to glue this flap. You're going to open this flap up, so this flap will be free, so like this one is, just free and sticking up. Okay, but this one is going to glue down here, and what you're going to do is you're going to put a line of glue down here and a line of glue down here and cut a divot in this bit. Right, before we glue anything down, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So what you want to do is you want to fold it up, just make sure that that sits within that fold. Flip that page back a little bit, and then we're going to do exactly the same as we did there. We're just going to put a pencil mark just on the very tip of there, and a pencil mark just there. Okay, we're going to open that back up again. We're going to put a little divot in the middle of there. So I'm going to eyeball it this time, which could be a mistake, but you know, hey. Slight mistake, never mind. And then we're going to put, sorry, we won't put the glue on yet because we need to glue this bit down first. So what we're going to do, take this off again. My glue's decided to like cry. Don't know why, maybe because I'm not feeling well. So I'm just going to put a very small line of glue down here. Now you don't need a lot. I know it looks like it creeps into the page about 1/4 of an inch, but trust me, just by putting a little line of glue like this will mean that it comes into the page probably that much anyway. Okay, so you're just going to move that out of the way, fold that page up, and then just push that into that corner there before you press it down. You want to make sure that this bit folds over nicely without it being interfered by this. Okay. Oh, except for then when you go and do that and you move it down. So we want to just make sure that's all in the right place now. It is. So glue it down like that. Okay. Then we're going to fold this bit up and we're going to glue it onto the piece, the bit where we've just pencil marked. So we're just going to do a line of glue down here and a line of glue down here, and then we're going to close that up. Okay, and what you'll see then is although this is glued down, it isn't glued to this page, so we still have this free bit here. So whilst these two parts are glued together, it's still open at the back of it. Okay, and that's the whole point of doing this bit. So we're gluing that on. Okay, and then if you've got any pencil marks that you don't like, just get rid of them. That's fine. There's got any pencil marks on here, Dave, that are visible. Just get rid of them. Cool. Okay. So that's going to fold down over there. We've still got this space. Oh, sorry, that's stuck in there. So let's get rid of that. So we've still got this space here. So let's just open this up and put that. So we can put this piece in the back here, just like that, and then we've still got this space here that we can put this into here, like that. Okay, so now, you know, your divot can be in the middle. You don't have to. I am going to round this corner as well. Just something I didn't do before, but I'm going to do this time. Okay, and then if you've got any creepage here, you see how this one is now, because you've put all of this here, you've just pushed that pocket just over that edge a little bit. This is your ideal opportunity to cut that little amount off. It only needs to have a very small sliver of removal. Just remove that bit. Just get that little knobbing off. Okay, if you want to re-round that corner, you can indeed, because it might not be a perfect corner anymore. There we go, it is now. Okay, so that now just folds over there. So these two are the bits of the flaps that we have here. Okay, so now what we need to do is, using this wider piece, okay, all I did was I took this and I folded it in half across its length. And I literally just folded it itself by itself, not actually using it on a board or anything like that. Okay, and then we just scored it, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this down. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that fold off, that way then I know I've got two of the same sizes, and we're just going to shape that. So like where we've got like a little bit of the ridge of the original score line that we had, we're just going to cut that off. Okay, and then I took each one of these, well, I'll do it together actually, and then just folded those in half. Open it back up again, take them off, and then all I did was I just cut around out of the corner, so a little bit of a divot. So just popped it in like that, cut the corner off, pop it in, cut the corner off, and so we get a similar sort of shape. Hold that one the other way around. Actually, shall I do it? I will do it that way around, actually. Pop it in, cut the corner. I don't know why that suddenly got harder. That's because I put it in the end and not the side. In there, cut that corner. Okay. Where's my other one? It's there. Fold that back on itself. And then all I did was I just put a hole punch in there so we've got something to tie it up with. So get me hole punch with the crocodile. Pop it on. Don't lose those. Don't lose it, Dave. So pop it on there, somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle where the air is still. Don't sing 'cause you're gonna cough and need a pill. Lots of coughing and drinking and mopping my beard. I'm gonna have to blow my nose in a minute, but I won't do that just yet. Okay, so now these are the things that we're gonna put on here. These are our little tabs. Okay, and all you want to do is you just want to glue. You just want to glue one side fully, and the other side just where it's going to meet that cardboard. You don't need it both sides, otherwise you're going to end up with a lot of glue in the middle. Pop it on and fold it over and press it down. And then you want to make sure that the other one is in a similar sort of place. So again, all of one side, and then just the bit where it's going to meet that cardboard on the other side. Fold it over so that it overlaps a similar amount, like so. You can make sure yours is straight, but you know, I don't. And there we go. So we've got that. So we've got our little pocket here. That's about wide enough for about an inch long thin tag. We've got a space here. Okay. We've got this that's going to fold over. And then all we need to do is we need to put the pocket on the front. Now the pocket on the front is where you hide your string. So you either use string or your ribbon enclosure. Now I will probably use a ribbon. Let me just go and find one. I'll blow my nose. So I've decided to use this ribbon. I have loads of it, as you can see. This came from a closing down sale, which we all like a closing down. I mean, like, obviously it's tragic that it's closing down, but we all like a closing down sale because it gives us stuff to play with. So I'm just going to cut a bit off. Move that out of the way. Gives us stuff to play with at a reasonable price. So we're going to pop that on there, okay, and we're going to put our little flap in the back just to make sure that it all fits properly. Just slide it in now. And what you want to do is you just want to make sure that your flap is sufficiently far down so you don't see the end of the flap, you know, the end of the flap hinge, but you also just want to put a little divot in there, and that'll just help you get things in and out. But you don't want to go too far down, otherwise you'll see that. So when you put this in, what you don't want to do is you want to go too far down with the divot, so that you see like a gap. So I'm trying to do it. So you don't want to do it like that so you can see a blue gap. You want it to just be sufficiently in, but you don't want it to go completely down, otherwise it'll make it difficult for you to get things in and out that pocket. Okay. So in order to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to glue all of our sides. Oh, actually no, we need to put a ribbon in first. Okay, so we need to place our ribbon where we want it. We need to hold this down because it makes it easier if it's held down, and I don't have 12 fingers. If you do, then great, fantastic. But I don't. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to glue around all of these edges. Like that. I'm going to put that in the middle, like so. Try and get it straight. I mean, like if you look at my prototype one, it's every time I look at it, I think that pocket is not straight, Dave. But you know, so now's the time to just swing it back round my way and check. That's straight enough. That's fine. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just glue this flap. Just wipe my glue off, actually. Glue this flap, and then we're going to tuck this flap into that space we've created, and then you can push it far enough down so that it covers up that space, but it didn't go all the way down, so you've still got this gap between where it folds and the top. Okay, pop that down, and you could, before you glue it all down, I know it's a bit late for me to tell you now, but like you could, before you glue it all down, you could put another ribbon in going across the other way to be able to tie the whole thing together, but I decided not to. Then that forms your tie for tying this bit up. I might have too much ribbon, but I'd rather cut some off than cut it too short and not have enough. Okay, I don't think that's too long, but I will just cut that. Rather than cut it as a fishtail, I will cut it like that. Okay, so that's our little pocket closure. Then we can put some, I think we'll put ribbon in this one. Put some ribbon in as closure here. And we're just going to use one long piece, I think, this time. And then that way then we'll thread it through here. Here, we'll thread it through here. We'll thread it through here. Okay, sorry, I was more trying to manifest it happening by shouting at the universe. That's how it works, isn't it? How manifestation works. Shout at the universe, and it will happen. Said no one. Okay. Tune in next week when Dave has threaded this through this hole. You know why it is? Because I didn't make a big enough hole, really. Hole. There we go. And then we'll just use that as one piece and tie it together like that. You could, of course, extend this and turn it into a Velcro a Velcro tab rather than having two tabbed holes. You could just have those one piece, stick it to one side so that they overlap, and use a tab on there. And if you've got this piece left, now if you really want to come at me and say, Dave, that's not a one sheet wonder, you can always stick it on here somewhere and have it as another pocket. You could have another one there if you wish. Right, I'm going to do that because otherwise somebody will say that's not a one sheet wonder. You've left some of it off. It's more wondrous if you don't. Okay, so then there's an opportunity for me to try and get this in the middle again. What we'll do is we'll flip it over this time. We'll stick it on there. We'll put that as another little pocket. Lucy Locket. I don't know. There's something about Lucy Locket and a pocket, but I don't know what it is. So I'm not going to say it. That's the answer. So there we go. So that is your one sheet wonder. So you have a pocket on the front. You've got a tuck here, two pockets here. You've got this. I'll have to undo it, won't I? Because otherwise won't be able to see it. Then we've got this bit here. We've got a pocket here. We've got this bit that tucks in at the back, and we've got this flap here that you can use for, you could, if you wanted to change it slightly, you could add a built-in notepad onto the middle of this. You could add another section onto this. You could add more of these together because you've got this flap here. You could add another one. so it folds back on itself. The world is your oyster. But that is my contribution to another One Sheet Wonderland for you. And you can go and enjoy that and make more. You can put, you can put some money in there. You could give it as a gift. The world is your oyster. But there we go. That's another little One Sheet Wonder, and I hope you enjoyed that. And of course, the way to tell me that you did enjoy it is to give me a thumbs up, because that's what tells not just me, but it tells the algorithm. The algorithm. Tells the tell the algorithm that you liked it and you enjoyed spending some time with me, and you want to follow me, please do so. If you want to comment, please do so. I always reply to my comments, and if you want to share it, I'm very happy for you to share it. I think I am, well, certainly when I'm making this video, and I make my videos a week and a half in advance. So I'm making this video on the 23rd of November, but I'm making it for week commencing the 1st of December, so the Christmas week. So by the way, all of my videos in Christmas in Christmas month will have the Christmas jingle to start them off with, whether they be a Christmas project or not. So yes, so I'm a little over a week ahead making things, so that's why sometimes the comments aren't in keeping. And if you comment on something, tell me what you're commenting on, because by the time I come to read your comment, I'll have forgotten what I said. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. My name is Dash of Dave, and guess what? I love you all without exception, until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. Take care, folks. Lots of love. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lots of hugs. And I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.